Morning, Bob. We'll wait just about one more minute and then I'll get started, all right? Can you hear me all right? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. All right, we'll get started in just a minute.
Good morning.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'm hoping that others will join us. Okay. I want to start this morning. Hope everybody had a good Yontif and had good Seders. And this morning we are going to pick up okay. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good morning, yes.
Good, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a quick review, starting on basically Lamed Vav Amud Beis, just quickly with the Mishnah and quick summary, and then we'll go into Lamed, I believe Lamed Zayin is today's daf. Okay? All right, so we have finished Bamed Madlikin, the second chapter in the Gemara, and now we're going on to the third chapter. Right? So on quickly Lamed, like I said, Lamed Vav Amud Beis, our Mishnah starts off Kirasha Hisikua Bekash Ubegavava, a oven that has been kindled, that has been lit using either straw or rakings, stubble, right? Notnim aleha tavshil. One can put a cooked item on it. Begefet uba'etzim. Okay, if the oven was heated by something else, let's say it was heated by peat or by wood, lo yitain, one cannot put on it, ad sheyigrof, until one either sweeps it out, ad she'o, or ad sheyitain et ha'efer, or puts some sort of ashes or something on the coals. Beit Shammai omrim chamin aval lo tavshil. Beit Shammai says that we're referring to hot water and not a cooked item, not a real dish. Beit Hillel omrim, but Beit Hillel says chamin v'tavshil, that whether it's a hot water or a cooked dish. Then the next part of the Mishnah. Beit Shammai omrim nodlin aval lo machzirin. According to Beit Shammai, right, it means that one can remove it but can't put it back on the oven. Beit Hillel omrim af machzirin. And Beit Hillel says that you could also put it back. Now, quickly, what we're going to see is part of the problem with the Mishnah, okay, and part of the whole discussion that continues is the fact that in the Mishnah that we have two different elements. That's one item, okay? An earlier, the Resha, okay, which simply says that you can't put on, and we don't know what that means to be able to put on, okay? Does it mean that you can't put it on Shabbat? Okay. Does it mean that you can't take it off and put it back on? Does it mean that, what about, let's say, putting it on before Shabbos and leaving it on till Shabbos? So there are these questions in regard to what that phrase means in our Mishnah. Then we have a Seifa of the Mishnah. Okay. The second part, okay, that we don't know whether this clarifies that phrase lo yitain, because Beit Shammai in the Seifa says that you can take it, but you can't put it back. Beit Hillel regarding certain things, and Beit Hillel says you can. Okay, but are they talking about the same kind of oven that we found in the Resha? Namely, does it depend on what the fuel is for the oven or not? Or does it depend on whether you've swept the oven or you've put ashes on the oven? So these are the kinds of questions that the Gemara is going to have to deal with, because the Mishnah is really not that clear in its statement. So the rest of Amud Beis then, Lamed Vav Amud Beis, begins to try to clarify this kind of question. Are we really talking about leaving a pot on from before Shabbat and then on to Shabbat? Or are we talking about removing and then putting it back on? Okay? So that is how the Gemara then, starts its discussion, okay? And one then tries to cite other examples. So what happens is we get through to the bottom of Lamed Vav, okay? Amud Beis, right? Is trying to see what is the relationship between these two sections of the Mishnah. And are again we talking primarily on leaving something on or taking something off, right? And then putting it back on, okay? So that's going to lead us to this discussion that we now get as we finish on the bottom of Lamed Vav Amud Beis, right? So we see there, okay, the following, right? Towards the very bottom, right? Vav Maksimim Beit Hillel Omrim Af Maksimim Hatu Lamali. Okay, what is the whole purpose of this further discussion? Asks the Gemara. And now we get to today's text. Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. La'olam emelach lachzir tana. So the Gemara wants to clarify and say, ideally, what we're talking about is the question of saying that we're dealing with the issue of replacing it on the oven, right? B'chasuri mixera v'hachi katani. And really something, this suggestion of understanding the Mishnah is that initially we're saying some phraseology is missing. Some part of the Mishnah is missing. Namely, this is how we should teach it. Kira shehesikuha bekashu begevava, namely an oven that has been kindled using either straw or rakings. Machzirim aleha tavshil, that one can put a cooked item back on it. Begefet uba'etzim, if it was heated with peat or with wood, lo yachzir ad sheyagrof, that one can't put the pot back on the oven unless they basically sweep it, or ad sheyitain et ha'efer, or unless one puts ashes on top of the coals. Aval lish'ot. But if we're talking about saying that it's simply to allow it to remain on the oven, namely it was put there before Shabbat started, and leave it on, okay? Mash'in afal pi she'eino garuf ve'eino katum, that we say that it can be left on there once Shabbat starts, okay? Even though the oven has not been, so to speak, cleaned, that it hasn't been swept or it hasn't been covered with ashes, okay? So now, if that's the case, umahen mashin, and what is it possible to be kept there? Then we're saying that the Seifa of our Mishnah sort of comes to explain the Resha. Beit Shammai omrim chamin, aval lo tafshil. Beit Shammai says that it's hot water, but not an actual dish. Beit Hillel omrim chamin v'tavshil. And Beit Hillel says it can be hot water and an actual dish. Right? Okay, so if that's the case, right, the Gemara then continues, V'hach chazra da'amrei lach. Okay, right, so the Gemara then asks, right, didn't we already discuss this about replacing it? Okay, isn't that an agreed upon basis, what you said? So the Gemara answers, love divrei hakolhi. Isn't that everybody's view? Ela machloket Beit Shammai uBeit Hillel. But it would seem, however, to be still a subject of an argument between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. Shebeit Shammai omrim notlin velo machzirin. That Beit Shammai seems to say that once you take it off, remove it, you can't replace it. Beit Hillel omrim af machzirin. And that Beit Hillel says you can replace it. So to try to clarify whether the Seifa is simply a clarification of the Reisha, or it's a different argument altogether, and what does the argument apply to? Whether it applies to leaving it on from before Shabbat, or whether it applies to taking it off and then putting something on. We'll try first to present an explanation from a new bright. Tashma, says the Gemara. The Amar Rabbi Chelbo, Amar Rabbi Chama Bar Goria, Amar Rav. Lo Shanu, Ela Al Gaba. We were talking perhaps, says Rabbi Chelbo, really putting it on the top of the stove. Aval Latocha, but inside Asur, it's forbidden. The Gemara says, wait a second. If you're going to say that our Mishnah really talks about and there's a separate argument in this case about the Seifa, namely to return an item, okay, if that's what it's talking about, Hainu, okay, the Sheni, Bain, Betocha, La'al Gaba. Then in that case, that argument, it should make no difference whether we're talking about putting it on top of the oven or inside the oven. If you're saying that our Mishnah focuses on leaving something on the oven, Mali tocha, Mali al gaba, then what difference does it make whether it's leaving it on the top or leaving it on inside? Misvarat Rabbi Chelbo Aresha Kai. So the Gemara now says, wait a second, we can't accept that explanation. Because are you saying that the Rabbi Chelbo's interpretation, right, really dealt with the first part of the Mishnah? Right? Asefer Kai. No, it really dealt with the second part of the Mishnah. Right? Ubeit Hillel Omrim, Af Machzirim, where Beit Hillel actually says that one can replace it. Right? Va'amar Rabbi Chelbo, and Rabbi Chelbo therefore says, Amar Rav Chama Bar Goria, Amar Rav. He says as follows, okay? Namely, Lo Shanu Ela Al Gaba, that this was only taught, this Seifa, about replacing it, really in regards to the top of the oven. Aval tocha asur, but inside the oven, it's forbidden. And so therefore that doesn't give us a clear understanding of what the relationship is between the Reisha and the Seifa of a Mishnah, and whether it's talking about the Hashot, just to leave it on, or whether it's talking about lahachzir. That being the case, we're going to try now to clarify that with another bright. Okay, and that's where we pick up. Tashma, says the new Braita. Shnei kirot, hamat imot. We have two ovens that are joined together. Right? Echad grufa uktuma, one of the ovens has been swept or covered with ash, va'achat she'ena grufa ve'ena ketuma, and the other oven has not been, has not had ash put in it or been swept. Right? Mash'in al gabe grufa ketuma. We can leave our item, okay, on the oven that has been swept or covered with ash. Ve'en mash'in al she'ena grufa ve'ena ketuma. But we cannot leave it on the oven that has not been swept or has not had ash put on the coals. So the Gemara says, umahein mash'in. Okay, if that's the case, then what are we talking about? Okay, what's being kept there, right? Beit Shammai omrim v'lo klum. Beit Shammai says nothing then can be put on it, left on it. Beit Hillel omrim chamin aval lo tavshil. And Beit Hillel says in that case, we can leave hot water, but we can't leave a dish. Furthermore, says the Gemara, akar, okay, if we removed the item, right, divrei hakol lo yachzir, then everybody would say you can't put anything back on it. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's the view of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, but Rabbi Yehuda says, Beit Shammai Omrim chamin aval lo tavshil, that you could put then hot water, but not a cooked dish, right? And Beit Hillel omrim chamin v'tavshil. Beit Hillel says it can be both hot water and a dish. Now, says the Gemara, what happens? Okay, Beit Shammai omrim notlin aval lo machzirin. Beit Shammai then says we can take it off, but we can't put it back on. Beit Hillel omrim af machzirin. Okay, and Beit Hillel says we can put it back on. Okay, we can replace it. So the Gemara then asks, I amrat b'shlema lish'otna. If you're saying then that our Mishnah is focusing on the issue of keeping something on, allowing it to stay on from before Shabbat till when Shabbat starts, matnit mani. Our Mishnah then would be according to whom? Rabbi Yehuda. It would be according to the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Ella, but rather, I amrat lahachzir tanan. But if you say that our Mishnah is really focusing on the issue of being able to take something off and put it back on, replacing it, matnit mani, our Mishnah is according to whom? Lo Rabbi Yehuda, v'lo Rabbi Meir, neither like Rabbi Yehuda, nor like Rabbi Meir. Why? Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, if we were to say it was going to be like Rabbi Meir, kasha the Beit Shammai b'chada, then it has a problem with Beit Shammai's view in regards to one aspect, namely, okay, our Mishnah says that according to Beit Shammai, you can permit hot water to be kept there. But here, according to this Braita, it permits nothing. Beit Hillel, and according to Beit Hillel, Batarte, you would have two problems with Beit Hillel, right? Because our Mishnah would say, according to Beit Hillel, you can put both hot water and a dish to be kept there, okay? Even if it's not swept, right? But here it says only if it's swept can hot water be kept there. Also, the Mishnah says it can be replaced if it's swept. And here, okay, they seem to agree that it cannot be replaced whatsoever, right? And so that's what we say. I Rabbi Yehuda, and that's what the Gemara is telling us. I Rabbi Yehuda, kasha grufa ukatuma. Okay, there would be a problem in regards to if it's swept or covered with ash. Le'olam emalach lahachzir tana. And therefore that would seem to say that it must be dealing with replacing it. The Tana Didan and the Tana of our Mishnah, Savala Karebi Yehuda Bechada. And so maybe we could give an answer, okay, from the Braita to our Mishnah. Maybe our Tana in our Mishnah holds like Rabbi Yehuda in one case, Upaliga Le Bechada, and he disagrees with him, okay, in another aspect, right? Namely, we see as follows, right? Bechamin v'tavshil v'notlin umachzirin, okay? That in regards to, right, the hot water in the dish, okay, he agrees with it, but removing and replaces, right? Right? That's one thing. Upaligale b'chada, and he disagrees with him in another, namely the ilu Tana Didan savar l'sh'ot, that namely the Tana of our Mishnah, okay, was focusing on holds in regards to the guard letting it remain, ba'afal pi she'eno garuf v'katum, even though the oven is not covered with ash or been swept. The Rabbi Yehuda Savar, Bizalishot, Nami Garufakatum, and Ilo Lo. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda holds that in regards to allowing the item to remain, that only applies to an oven that has been swept or has ash put in it. Yes, that's acceptable, but if not, not. So now we get to another issue, namely, we see that Braita didn't clarify the status of our Mishnah as to whether its focus is simply leaving something to remain or replacing the pot. Ibayalahu. So now we're going to try another example with another case. So they asked, what about the following situation? Mahu lismochba. What about simply leaning a pot, okay, against the oven, right? What's the situation? Okay, right? So in other words, tocha begaba asur. Inside of it, okay, and on top of it is forbidden. Aval lismochba shapir dami. Shall we say, however, that if you simply lean against it, it may be permitted, okay? Or dilma lo shana, or perhaps there's no difference, right? Tashma, listen to the following Braita. Maybe this will clarify, right? Shte kirot hamatimot. Again, we have two ovens that are joined together. Echad grufak tuma. One has been swept or ash put on the coals. Ve'echat she'ena grufak tuma. And the other, right, has not been swept or ash put on the coals. Mash'in al gabe grufak tuma. Okay, this Braita says that we can allow it to remain on the oven that is swept or ashen. The afal gav the kasalik le havla meidach. Even though we say that in this case the heat, okay, reaches it from the other oven. Okay, so the Gemara doesn't accept this either, right? Why? Because it then says, right, Dilma shani hatan. Maybe in that case it's different. The kevan de midlaya shalit ba'avira, because perhaps since the item is elevated, right, the pot is elevated, right, the air affects it, and therefore it's different. So again, we don't get a final answer to what the focus of our Mishnah is. So we try another Braita. Tashma, listen to the following Braita. The Amar Rav Safra, Amar Rav Chia. Okay? What about the following? He says, regarding a stove, katma v'nitlavta. Okay, here's a stove where it was covered with ashes, and yet it sparked up again. Right? Somchin la. Okay, we can put our pot to lean on it. Umekaimin aleha, right? And we can say that it's right, that in this case we can keep a pot on it, right? V'not lean mimena, and we can remove a pot from it. Umachzirin la, and then we can replace it, right? Shmamina, this would come to teach us the smoke nami katma in lo katma lo. That in regards to leaning a pot, okay, it would be permitted where the ashes are, where it's been swept, yes, or covered with ashes, yes, okay, kitma, yes, lo kitma, but if it wasn't covered with ash, no, right? But the Gemara is not going to, again, has a problem with this, right? Ulatamech, but according to that line of reasoning, not lean mimena. Okay, that would seem to say that I can take it off, right? So does that seem to imply the katani kitma'in lo kitma lo? Does that seem to teach then that if it's covered with ash, yes, we can remove it, but if it's not covered with ash, no? Okay. So the Gemara comes back to tell us, no, rather we have to come back with another issue. Ella Tana Notlin Mishum Machzirin. Why? Because here our problem is you take it off, usually to put it back on. Hacha Nani Tana Sumchin Mishum Kaimin. But here, our Tana is teaching us that you have it lean on there in order to maintain it, to keep it on. Okay? So, Hachi Hashta. Okay, here, then what is our position? What's our decision? Okay. Hatam Notlin Umachzirin Bechad Makom. Normally, okay, when we take it off, we put it back in the same place. Okay? That's the situation, right? Tana Notlin Mishum Machzirin. Because we teach that we take it off in order to replace it. Elahach, in this case, all right, somchin bechad makom. Okay, we say what happens here, that if it's to lean, okay, what happens? Okay, from one place, umekaimin bechad makom. Okay, and then we put it back, perhaps not in the same place, but in a different place. Okay. Mai hava Allah. Then what do we have? What's our decision here? Okay. Again, we'll try another brayta. Tashma, the following brayta. Okay. Kira shesikura bagefet uba'etzim. This time we have a oven that is heated by peat or by wood. Somchin la. Okay, we say we can lean the pot against it. Ve'ein mekayamin ela im kain grufa uktuma. But we can't keep it there unless the oven has been swept or had ash put in it. So the Gemara then says, Gechalim she'amamo. Okay, are we talking then about a situation where the coals have died down or dimmed? Oshinatana leha neoret shel pishtan dakan. Or perhaps the person covered the coals with beaten flax. Okay? Right? Harehi kikatuma. In that case, that would be similar to a situation of having covered it completely with ash. Now, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Oshaya. He says as follows: Katma v'hu ara, a situation. He says where the coals have been covered with ash, yet they spark, they blaze, right? Again, right? What happens then? Mash'in ala chamin shehuchmu kol tzurkan. We can allow the pot, okay, to remain on the oven, okay, the boiling water, so long as it's boiled to all its much as it's required to. Tavshil should be bishil kol tzurkan, and a dish that has been boiled or cooked all that it needs, right? Shmamina, okay, and therefore we learn from this, right, that proves the following: mitztamek v'yafelo mutar, that it means that when the foodstuff shrivels up and improves, okay, that it would be seen to be permitted. So the Gemara says, wait a second, that's not the case. Shaniha, that's different here. Why? The katma, because we said it's like it was covered with ashes. Ihachi, if that's the case, mai lememra huv'ara, what about the fact that we said that it's sparked up again, right? It's tarichale. Is it necessary to say that, to mention that? Mahu detema. Then what are you trying to tell us, right? Kevan dehuvara hadra la lemilta kamaita. Okay, we may have thought then that since the sparked up again, it's as if it returned to its original state, its original condition. Kamash Malan comes to teach us that that's not the case. So again, we still have no, final decision as to whether our Mishnah talks about the relationship of the Resha and the Seifa, whether the focus is on allowing it to remain or returning it. Right? Now, we try another statement, right? Amar Rabba Bar Barchana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Kitma v'huvara. Okay? In this case, we said that it was covered with ash and it sparked up again. Mash'in aleh chamin shehuchmu kotzar kan. Okay? That we can allow, right, to keep it on the hot, if it's hot water, it can be allowed to be kept so long as it needs, right? Va'afilu gechalim shel rotam. And even, we say, if the coals were made from a broom tree, which are a broom plant, okay, which is a kind of plant that grows in the desert, where they would use the roots of the tree as a source of fuel, and this burned much longer and much hotter than other sources of fuel. Shmamina, okay, mitztamek piafelo mutar. Okay, do we learn therefore from this that if the foodstuff shrivels up and improves, it's permissible? Shani hacha, the kitma. But maybe here too, we say it's different because it was covered with ash. Ihachi mai, lememra huvhara. If that's the case, then why do we say it? Right? It's tarichale, it was necessary to say it. Right? Why? Because hainu hach. Okay? But isn't that the same thing that we said before? Asks the Gemara. No, says the Gemara. We had to say this statement specifically. Why? Gechalim sharotam, it's tarichale. Because we were talking about coals that came from the broom plant, which are particularly unique or special. So we weren't just repeating a previous statement, we were still teaching something new. Now, let's go on to another possible explanation. Amar Rav Sheshet, says Rav Sheshet, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Kira shehesikuha begefet ube'etzim. We're back to an oven that now has been kindled using either peat or wood. Mash'in aleha chamin. We can allow the pot of hot water to remain on there. Shelo huchmu kol tzorkan. Even if it hasn't been completely insufficiently heated. V'tavshil shelo bishil kol tzorkan. And a foodstuff, a dish, even though it hasn't been completely cooked. Akar, however, if one has taken it totally off the oven, lo yachzir ad sheyigrof or ad sheyitain efer. One cannot put it back on the fire, on the oven, unless one has again either swept the coals or covered it with ash. Kasava matnitin lahachzir tana. Why? Because, Rav Sheshet seems to be of the opinion that the focus of our Mishnah, is in regards to the Seifa, the discussion on returning it, to the oven, right? However, aval lish'ot, but regards to simply keeping it on there, right? Mash'in afal pi she'eino garuf ve'eino katum. That, in terms of leaving it, even though the oven may not have been swept or no ash put in it. Now, Amar Rava says as follows: Travayu tinan hi. We learned both of these. Lish'ot tanina. In regards to keeping it on, we've learned a notnin et hapat betocha tanur im chashecha. We do not, put bread in an oven before nightfall. Velo charada al gabe gechalim, and not cake or biscuits on the coals, right? Ela kadei shikremu paneha, unless the surface can form some sort of a crust. Hakamu paneha shari lahachzir. But if, however, the crust is formed, it says that we are permitted, right, to return it. Now, with respect to replacing ahachzir, nami tanina, regarding to replacing, we also learned, namely Beit Hillel omrim af machzirin. Beit Hillel says that we can replace it, right? Va'ad kan lo kasharu Beit Hillel ela begrufa ukatuma. But up to this point, Beit Hillel only permitted that regarding an oven that's been swept, or is covered with ash. Aval b'she'ena grufa ukatuma lo. But if it hadn't been swept or covered with ash, no. The Rav Sheshet, Now, in regards to Rav Sheshet, is he teaching us a new halacha? Not necessarily, right? Rav Sheshet, nami diyuka dematnitin kamashmala. What he's coming to do is not teach us something new, but rather he's coming to teach us a clarification, a deduction, if you will, of our Mishnah. However, we get now to another statement, again trying to clarify. Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan the following: Kira shehesikuha begefet ube'etzim. An oven then that has been kindled or heated with peat or with wood. Mash'ina lehat tavshil shabishel kod tzorkol. We can leave on it a dish that's completely or sufficiently cooked, right? Right? V'chamin shehuchmu kol tzorkan, or hot water that's been sufficiently heated, all its needs. Va'afilu mitztamek v'yafelo, and even if this dish, okay, shrinks and therefore is improved in that manner. Amarle hahumi derabanan. However, then one of the other rabbis said, the Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, okay, said to them, Ha, Rav Ushmuel, the Amrei Travayu, Mitztamek V'yafelo, Asur, wasn't it Rav and Shmuel, where the two of them said, if the dish shrinks and by therefore improves, that should not be forbidden? Right? Amarle, so Rav Shmuel, okay, Ben Yehuda answers him as follows. Okay, Atu, since then, Lit Ana Yada, the Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yehuda. Don't you think I know that it was Rav Yosef in the name of Rav Yehuda? Okay, Amar Shmuel. Okay, in the name of Shmuel. Okay, let's to make be a fellow asur, that if it shrinks and improves the food stuff, the dish, that it's forbidden. Ki ka'amina lach, the Rabbi Yochanan ka'amina. When I taught that, he says, when I said it, I told it to you according to the view of Rabbi Yochanan. Now, Amar le Rab Ukva, the Mishan, the Rav Ashi, and in another discussion, Rav Yochanan, okay, Rav Ukva of Messina says to Rav Ashi, Atum, the Mekar Vitu, the Rav Ushmuel, you who are near, okay, in other words, you're in the proximity where Rav and Shmuel's decisions are the basis for the halacha, you have to follow him. V'anan na'avid k'Rabbi Yochanan. Whereas we, okay, can act according to Rabbi Yochanan, okay, right? Which is more the authority of Eretz Yisrael, right? Now, further discussion. Amar le Abai the Rav Yosef. So Abai asks Rav Yosef the following, coming back really more to our original questions, right? Mahu lish'ot. What about keeping the pot on the stove? Okay, particularly if we're saying that this stove has not been swept. Okay, Amarle, he said to them, Ha Rav Yehuda, Mashule va'achil. What? He says, we know indeed that in the example of Rav Yehuda, they allowed it to stay and he ate from it. Okay. Amarle Abayi responds, they say, Bar mine de Rav Yehuda. Okay, put Rav Yehuda aside. In other words, you can't use him as that example as a proof. The kevan de mesukanhu, filu b'Shabbat, nami shari leme'avadle. Okay, because he was somebody who was ill, okay, or in a dangerous condition. Okay, he had stomach issues or something else, all right? Even then, they would serve him warm food on Shabbos, okay? Li v'lach mai. But in regards to you and I, Abai and Rabbi Yosef, what is the status for us, he says, right? Amarle, he said to him, the surah mashu, okay, in surah, okay, right? Namely, where Rav had his, right? Mashu, they would allow it to remain. Right? Daha, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Why? Because there we saw the example of Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Mari de Uvda Hava, who was a master of good deeds and very meticulous in the mitzvot, right? Umashu le va'achim, that they would keep it for him and he would eat it. Now, Rav Ashi says, Amar Rav Ashi, Ka'amina Kame de Rav Huna. I was standing once before Rav Huna, right? V'shahim le kasa the harsana v'achal. Okay, and on Shabbat, he said they allowed it. They left a piece of a kind of fried fish in oil on the oven. Okay, and he ate it. Right? They kept it on the stove for him, and he ate it. V'lo yadan, I did not know, he said, Rav Ashi. Okay, mishum the kasavar mitztamek v'yafer mutar. I didn't know if that was a result of the fact that the foodstuff shriveled up and improved, and therefore he felt it was permitted. Okay. Okay. Oh, or perhaps mishum the kevan the eat mecha, or perhaps because it contained some sort of flour in it. Okay, mitztamek v'ralo, and therefore when it shrivels up, it deteriorates. Right? V'ralo, Amar Rav Nachman held the following: mitztamek b'yafelo asur, that if it shrinks up and improves, it's forbidden. Mitztamek v'ralo mutar, that if it shrivels up and it's not good, it deteriorates, then it's permitted. Klala de milta, and therefore the general principle is the following. Okay, kol de it bei micha, if it has some sort of flour or flour paste in it, right? It's to make viralo, okay, and it shrinks up and deteriorates, becomes bad, right? Lavar mitav shil delifta, with the exception of this kind of turnip stew, the afal gav, the eat bei micha, that even though it has this flour or flour paste in it, mitztamek v'yafelo hu, that it shrinks up and improves, right? That's the exception. Vahani mili, the eat bei basra, and that implies only where it contains meat. Aval meat bei basra, but if it doesn't contain any meat, mitztamek v'ralo, then it shrinks up and it becomes bad, it deteriorates. V'chi'it bei bisra, and even if it does have meat in it, nami lo amran ele de lo kave la leorchin. It's even if it contains the meat, it only applies if we said it was intended for guests. Why? Because they would cut the meat up in smaller portions, okay, and therefore that would allow the flour paste to be stronger. Aval kave la leorchin, but if it's intended for guests, mitztamek v'ralo, okay, but that's why we would cut it up, right? It would deteriorate, right, and therefore, right, it would shrink in its deterioration, and therefore that would be why it would be accepted. V'tamrei, and in regarding tavshil, a dish that was made with figs, okay, daisa, or porridge, right, or tamrei, or dates, mitztamek v'ralahen, okay. In those cases, cooking them, okay, the result is that the dish is going to shrink and deteriorate, and therefore that would be permitted. And we're going to stop right there on that at that point. Okay, I'm going to.
Thank you, Rabbi Green. A good moed.
Okay. All right. Have a good morning. Okay. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay
Yes.
well, everybody.
And you too. Be well.
Have a good morning.